and welcome to Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Riley Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
Hello, my sisters.
Hello.
How are you?
Great.
I mean, we've been here for a while. I don't know why you're just saying hello.
Because I do. Yeah, that's like my thing.
That's your thing now?
If you have a better thing, please, by all means, jump in.
I don't have a better
Let her have her thing.
Our first few recordings, I guarantee there is all of us say our names, and then there's just this pause, and that's why I started the hello sisters thing, because you two never say anything.
You're the oldest. I just assumed you would take the lead.
That's always my job. Riley, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Hanging in there?
Yeah. I'm all right.
Riley had a rough week.
Very rough week. Mostly weekend. It's pretty awful.
Do you want to share?
I failed my driver's test,
Wah, wah.
which meant I couldn't go to the football game that I had plans to go with my friends.
What? You could have gone.
Well, yeah, but they had plans to ride with me, and they found rides with other people, and then there was no ride for me. So,
I'm sorry, Rilo.
Oh, that's a bummer.
You did get your hair done, and it looks great.
thanks. It's darker than I wanted, so that just adds to the week of awful.
It looks good. I like it dark. It looks pretty.
Thanks.
So Riley, unfortunately, did not pass her driver's test.
Nope.
What part? What part did you slip up on? Was it the actual
The driving part I was good at, and then knowing where everything was in the car I was good at. It was the parallel parking.
That's it. That's the one that gets you.
And you get 3 tries, and I guess there's a white line, and your wheels are supposed to be inside of the white line, so I parked, and I was like, well, I know this is a little bit too far, and I think I'm a little bit crooked, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this was my first try so that I can restart and be in a better position for the next one. He opened up the door and was like, well, your wheels are on the white line, so just about an inch or 2 over, and you would have been fine. And then I was backing up to get out of the space to try again. And then I looked around. He was like, you better stop. I think those barrels are getting pretty close back there because if you hit a barrel, it's an automatic failure. So I was like, oh, thank you. So assuming he was trying to help me and be like a cool guy, I put into drive and cut it all the way to the left so I could get out of the space. And on my way out of the space, I was not backed up enough and the side of my car brushed against a barrel. He said, well, you know what that means. Yes, I do know what that means.
Yeah, that is the one automatic failure on a driver's test is if you hit the barrels when you're parallel parking.
Well, also, apparently if you're in the wrong lane of traffic, which is understandable if you're on a road with other cars, but okay, imagine this, a 2-lane road. You're going down, and I know if you're on an actual road, this would be on the wrong side of the road. Like if you're driving on the left side of the road, it would be wrong. Mm-hmm. But the other lane is where you parallel park. So it's as if the left lane is where you're supposed to be driving and the right lane is where you'd parallel park, right? Mm-hmm. So then you pull into park in the right lane and you're driving in the left lane to get to the spot. So then when you pull out, you would assume you could still drive in the left lane. No, I pulled out of the spot after I'd already failed and was driving in that lane because that is the lane I had been driving in to get to the spot. He was like, well, you're in the wrong lane of traffic, so I guess it's good you already failed because I would have failed you for that anyways.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm happy to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Riley.
That sucks.
Very funny.
You got a trickster. You got a trickster driver's test guy. That's not good.
He also yelled at me and was very mean. So
was it like
that? Do you think maybe your interpretation was a little bit colored by the fact that you'd failed your driver's test?
You mean my recitation of exactly what he said to me was colored?
Okay, sure.
Ooh. Hey, you know who else failed the driver's test?
Both of you.
No, I actually passed it.
This is a myth. I know, this is my fault. I told Riley that we both failed on the first go-round, and I'm sorry, Taylor. I apologize up front. For some reason in my head, that is what I believe. This was not a lie. I believe that we both failed the first time, but apparently
do not tarnish my good name.
I am sorry. Taylor passed on the first try.
But how old were you, Taylor?
I got some years. I didn't take it till I was 18, so hey.
You were 18, okay.
Well, yeah. Is that like cheating? Like in those 16 to 18 years, you get really good at driving?
I'm just saying, you probably practiced your parallel parking part of that for more than a day before the test.
Yeah, I wasn't practicing for 2 years trying to build up to the driver's test.
Well, no, I just mean the first time I'd ever parallel parked was last Thursday, and I took my test last Friday.
Well, maybe you should have practiced that, huh?
I just really wanted to,
Like, I'm sorry.
Well, I
love you.
failed, so I guess I
I'm
can't go
just-
back and redo it now.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you
And
can.
I'm practicing this
you
week,
can
so
go
I can
back
take it
and
again this
redo it.
weekend.
How I think it's better to know, listen, you failed it because you didn't do the parallel parking right, but you didn't really practice the parallel parking a lot. So obviously there's an easy fix for this.
Well, it's
Practice
also
more.
hard because, like, you think about it, and it's like when I'm in the car with Dad and he's practicing parallel parking with me, I never would have gotten so nervous in the car with Dad that I would have, like, thought I didn't have any more room to back up and kept
Sure.
driving.
You
When
get
you're in
more
the car
nervous.
with Dad, you're like, well, I guess I have room to back up. He's not going to say anything even if I hit a barrel. Like, I didn't ever hit a barrel. Like, we practiced for an hour and a half, 2 days in a row. That's a lie. I did 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. So, like, 3 hours total, which isn't that much, but I practiced 2 days in a row for like an hour and a half. I never hit a barrel once. The only thing I did wrong was not being close enough. And I just got nervous because I was in the car with a mean dude.
Which is, I mean, you're going to get nervous. That's fair. Obviously, it's harder to do the actual
I mean,
test.
I got nervous and forgot how to put the car into reverse for a hot second.
When I took my driver's test, I did fail the first time around. I did not know how to turn on my brights at all.
And you failed because of that?
No, I didn't fail because of that. I knew how to flash them, but I didn't know how to make them stay on. So I just pulled the little thing to make them flash and didn't let go, and they couldn't tell that's what I was doing.
I did the same thing.
Because I didn't know how to actually make them stay on. I mean, I do now. Like, I
I
figured
did
that
the
out.
same thing.
Well,
I'm
maybe
33. I know now.
maybe get that down too, Riley, before you go for round 2.
Well, because, like, it was towards the end of the time they were allowing people to take their test on a Friday. And it's not my fault because I got out of school at 12, went to the DMV, was there by 12:30, and they stopped signing people in for their test at 4. So I was like, this is 3.5 hours. This is well in the middle of the day. But of course, it being the DMV, I didn't take my test until 2:45. So I just kind of sat in the DMV for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then he got out there and was very frustrated. So he was just kind of like, put the car in reverse and press your foot on the brakes. Turn on your brights, turn on your lights, turn on your windshield wipers, which I didn't know how to turn on my rear windshield wipers, but I figured it out on accident trying to turn on the front windshield wipers. And the whole time I was doing the driving portion of the test, which was like the first thing you do is he asks you to turn on all the things. So the whole time I was doing the driving portion of the test to get to the parallel parking, my rear wipers were on, but he never knew because he never said anything about it. And you couldn't hear them, and they were in the back. Well, he didn't say anything about it, and you couldn't hear them, and they were in the back. So the whole time I was doing the driving portion, the rear wipers were on, and I couldn't take my hands off the wheel to turn them off because I was driving.
Oh, this went very badly for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it went very badly, and it's so funny. Thank you, sisters.
I failed the first time. You have to be able to
Do
laugh
you see me
about it.
laughing
It's
at
not-
you for failing?
You can laugh at me for failing.
I'm not going to because I'm your sister and I love you.
Hey, I've failed at
Oh.
lots of other things, if that makes you feel better. Like,
I usually don't
passed
fail
the
at
driver's
things,
test,
though.
failed it way more.
Here,
I
and here's
usually
the
don't
thing.
fail things, though.
Well, and I do.
Well, this is an important
Hey.
lesson then. Now you know what failure feels like.
I failed my driver's test as well. And let me say this. So not every state requires the same thing on a driver's test is my understanding. And the only reason I think that is because in Ohio, which is right next to us here in West Virginia, and like especially where we live in West Virginia, we are 10 minutes from Ohio at any
closer
given
to
moment.
Ohio than most places in West Virginia.
Exactly. I do not believe you have to parallel park on a driver's
Those
test.
people are so lucky.
Yes.
I would have passed if I wouldn't have had to parallel park.
But someone told me you had to drive backwards through cones,
What?
which like navigate a trail of cones while backing up, which I would definitely fail at.
Yeah.
I'd probably rather parallel park. I don't know if that's true. Maybe you have to drive back. Well, I think Teresa told me so it must be true because she's from Ohio.
Yeah.
So she would know. So you have to like drive backwards through parallel. Like you have to drive backwards through cones.
I can't do that.
That seems like an unnecessary skill. Wait, what? Where do
Like,
you?
when are you ever going to have to do that?
That's a.
But on the West Virginia test, you have to. I mean, you drive around the block. You have to
And-
know where everything is in your car.
where the Huntington DMV is, it is like blocks of roads, so just a bunch of right turns,
Yeah, it's like a
and,
perfect grid.
like 25 mile per hour speed limit.
It's the driving portion is very simple.
Yeah,
you
like
do.
I was doing real good at that part.
Yeah, it's very simple. You do a 3-point turn.
I
on
did
a
that
dead
right.
end, and that's easy. And then you parallel park. And the parallel parking is the notorious, that is the part that you practice and that people always fail on if they fail.
Yeah.
Almost always it's the parallel parking. Because it's really hard without just like hitting a car or a pedestrian.
Right.
It's really hard to fail the rest. But so I practiced a ton. We didn't practice. I know, Riley, you practiced at the DMV itself.
Yeah. Which really the space where you're supposed to parallel park isn't small. I mean, it's a pretty big space to park your car in.
Yeah.
But it's just, I get too nervous. So like, I think I'm going back too far because if you hit the curb, it's not an automatic failure, but it takes points off. And I know if I hit the curb, I'm not going to be able to get myself in a position to park.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to restart and that'll be one of my tries anyways. So I didn't want to go back too far to hit the curbs. And I started going in a little bit and I wasn't far enough in.
It's hard. I mean, I practiced a lot. My dad set up a cone. He had a road cone that one of our family members had stolen from the side of the road.
Cool.
And left at our house. So he had that, and I forget what the other thing was that he set
like
up.
a trash can or something.
Like a trash can or something. But he put it up. I think it was a trash can. He put it it was in the parking lot of our high school. Where I practiced. So like I just drove circles around the parking lot, and then he set up a little space for me to parallel park in. Well, the cone isn't. I was in an SUV and it wasn't high enough for me to see like where the cone was. So he put a broom in the cone. So I was in the parking between like a cone with a broom sticking out of it and a trash can. But I was terrified. I took my test. Everything was fine. I went to pull into the space. I was at the wrong angle the first time. So it was on the second try. I got in. I was right at where I was supposed to be. I was close enough to the curb. I was within the lines. Everything was cool. I hadn't hit a barrel. I go to pull back out. She's like, okay, good. You're in space. I go to pull back out, use my signal and everything. I pull out. And as we're pulling out, as I'm thinking like, dun, 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 victory. I've passed the test. As we're pulling out, she says, now you have failed. So go ahead and return to the spot and I'll tell you why. And it was like a mystery.
Mystery fail.
I didn't know why. I was like, what? I only got 2 tries though. I don't know why. But like, what did I do? And I didn't know. And she wouldn't tell me. So I had to like finish the little drive and then get in the spot. And we get in the spot and she goes, you didn't look over your shoulder.
What?
That's it.
She said, I did not look over my shoulder
what a
before
mean
I pulled
lady.
out of my space. I think she is a liar.
Oh, that sucks.
But either way, that was why I failed. She said I didn't look over my shoulder, which is why the last thing I told Riley before she went to take her test was don't forget to look over your shoulder.
Which I did after I had failed. I had already failed. I had hit the barrel. He had told me I had failed. But like a good student and child that I am, I put the car back in reverse. I backed up enough so I didn't hit another barrel. I pulled out. I used my blinker and I looked over my shoulder.
I'm sorry.
And I was in the wrong lane of traffic.
Which, if you put that in a real world scenario, is all very nice to do after you've already hit the car in front of you.
I guess that's fair. But like, okay, our mom has never parallel parked ever.
Yeah.
Except for her driver's test.
Oh, I don't think I ever did.
Well, if it wasn't for that part, I would have passed like so easily.
I have, and this sounds like a joke that someone would tell. This is not a joke. This is the truth. I have ended up perpendicular to the road in attempts to parallel park in the past. I cannot do it. I did it then when I retook my driver's test. I will say the second tester was much nicer. Which did give me was more relaxing because they were very nice. They were joking about it, and I parallel parked on the first try that time, so it was all groovy, and I got my license. But I did that time, and then when I had to retake my driver's test,
like
2 years ago, I did it that time. Those are the only time I do not parallel park.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a nicer instructor, and like I feel like the DMV pulled a cruel joke on me. Because the very nice man that signed me in said he was going to be the one conducting my test. And while we were like signing the papers and stuff that we had to sign, the other people at the desk at the DMV had be like, oh, you didn't sign this out, then go fill it out, get a new number and wait in line again. And we didn't know that you had to put my permit number on every one of the logs. So he was like, go through and put those on there. I'll just wait while you do it. So we like went through and did it. He was waiting there and he was like, okay, when you pass your test, blah, 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 take these papers and you'll go over and take your picture. And I was like, well, if I pass my test. And he was like, no, when you pass your test, you'll be fine. And then like Dad went to go put the car in a spot, and I was waiting there, and he was like, do me a favor. Don't be so nervous. You'll be fine. Like, he was so nice. And I thought he was going to be the one doing my test. And then some guy comes in with a very sour look on his face, and you can tell he does not like his job. And he calls my name and walks out with a clipboard. I was like, no, wait. I want the other guy. Come back.
It was a bait and switch.
It was so sad.
Now you just passed yours on the first try, Hante.
I did. But I liked the dude that conducted my test. He was very chill. I think he was like taking a nap in the passenger seat the whole time. He was not super concerned with my ability to drive, I feel like.
Now, none of us took driver's ed, though.
No.
It's offered. Like, you can do that.
Well, at my school, you can't take it until you're a senior.
Oh.
And I just turned 16 at the beginning of my junior year, and I was not going to wait until I was a senior to get my license and take driver's ed.
I just didn't want to. I just wanted. I got my learners a month before I turned 16. I didn't when I was 15. Yeah.
See, now you have to wait 6 months.
Yeah, we didn't have to do that.
Get your permit in between getting your permit and your license.
I didn't think there was any point in driving until I could do it by myself. So I just waited until right before I turned 16. I got my learners and then practiced for a month and then got my license.
Yeah.
But I didn't take driver's ed. I did have a really nasty interaction with the driver's ed teacher once in high school when I was driving to school and I needed to be there early. I forget for some reason to do something. And so I was rushed because I was always late. So like having to get there early,
right.
This was a fool's errand. And I was driving very fast as I used to do. And you should never do, Riley.
I drive very slow. So
you do drive very slow. I was driving very fast on the curvy road to our high school that we used to take to our high. I used to love going very fast on that road. And there was a very slow car in front of me. And so I was letting them know that I was displeased by following them very closely.
Are you tailgating them?
I was tailgating
Sid.
I know. I used to be a jerk on the road. And I tailgated them until I realized they were going up the hill in front of me. And I thought, oh no, I might have to see this human now. So I tried to increase my following distance and hang back in hopes that they would just go on to wherever their destination was and I would be far away. I pulled into the student lot and the car had pulled over to the side of the road and let me pass so they could tail me in and pull up next to me and say as I got out of my car, do you know who I am? And I said, no, sir. He said, I'm the driver's ed teacher, and I want you to know that driving like that, you're going to kill somebody. And then he drove away.
Wow.
So there's your lesson. Do not tailgate people or drive too fast because you never know when a driver's ed teacher is going to be on the road and shame you for it.
You tailgated the most wrong person to tailgate.
I know. I was so embarrassed. I felt so bad. I never got in trouble. This was a big deal for me to get in trouble.
That was when awful. The guy told me I had failed and he was like, well, you understand why, right? Like that, you realize how unsafe that would have been. We used to have to look out for safety. I was like, I understand completely. He was like, well, I can offer you the DMV lot to come and practice on the weekends before you come to take your test again. And I was like, I will be doing that to ensure more safety in my driving.
You know what, Riley? If you don't pass the test, there's an alternative. You could move up here to New York where we don't need to have cars.
That's a good point.
I haven't driven in 6 years.
Of high school. Still gotta go through 2 more years of high school.
I'm just saying.
Which that was the whole thing for me. Was I had been driving to school, but of course I had to have someone in the car with me. So Dad would drive me to school and let me drive my car, and we pull in the student lot so I could park and get my things out and everything. But there are all those seniors there and all the juniors that have their licenses getting out of their cars all in one big cluster, which I don't know why they always have to be in a cluster right in front of wherever I park, no matter where it is. But then I get out of the car and they're like, oh, okay, she's just getting out of her car and they don't think anything of it. And then her dad gets out of the passenger seat and they're like, what?
You're just racking up those hours.
I already have over 100. You only have to have 50.
Uh-huh.
What?
Uh-huh, sure you
I do.
I will say Riley drove a little bit to Max FunCon on the trip to Max FunCon.
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
Yes, and she did a good job. She did a very good job. She navigated the interstate and following Dad on the interstate.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I should have gotten my license just for that.
Our dad drives like a madman.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. He drives too fast and he tailgates people, and I don't
Passes literally everyone.
He passes everyone. We were joking. I was following him in our car on the way back from Max FunCon, and we were saying that it's like he thinks there's a front of the interstate that he can get to, like he can be the first one at the front of the interstate, and we just have to keep passing cars till we can get to the front of everyone and beat the interstate and win the interstate and be the best of the interstate. And it is exhausting to follow him.
He's a full contact driver.
That is the truth.
Especially when he puts it into cruise control, and then his cruise control ends up being faster than the person in front of him. So he's so close to the person in front of him, and the other lane is very busy, and he can't get over. And it's so nerve-wracking to be in the front seat going, "Can't you just take it off cruise control? Just ease up a little bit, please. Oh my God, please."
He enters what we call the wolf pack, which is when you see like a cluster of cars on the interstate that for some reason all seem to want to be hanging out really close to each other, and they're all kind of passing each other and racing each other. Mm-hmm. You want to hang back from those. Do not get in the wolf packs. That is where wrecks happen. There's my advice to you.
Thank you, Sydney.
Stay out of the wolf packs. It's true. And Dad is the worst about like, let me find a bunch of other cars and get right up in there, get all over them. I just want to see what everybody's doing in their cars. What are you eating? What are you listening to? I don't know. What have you packed back there? Do you have bumper stickers? Let me check them out.
Get real close so I can read them.
Oh, that's a big truck. I'll have to get even closer to that one to see what it's got going on.
Yeah, that's his favorite thing.
I wanna talk more about driving and driver's tests. But Riley,
let's go check out what's happening in the group message.
That sounds like a good idea. Let's go. We have again this week. We have the pleasure of telling you about a lovely sponsor, CISO. Now, you may, if you've been listening to our show, may already be familiar with CISO. If you're not, I'm saying SEESO when I say CISO.
Thank you, Sydney. I needed that clarification.
Well, I feel like it's important so you know what I'm referencing. Do you know what CISO is?
Tell me.
It is an on-demand streaming comedy service, anytime, anywhere, all kinds of hilarious comedies, new and old. We are becoming more and more familiar with CISO, in part because my brother and me will be having a television show on CISO.
What?
Eventually. Not yet. They're working on
One
it.
day.
They're filming it now as we speak. But right now, they already have curated some of the best comedy to bring you all of the good stuff all in one place. And it is only $3.99 a month.
That is nothing.
That is
Crazy.
nothing for wonderful comedy.
Nothing.
And no advertisements.
What?
Ad-free for $3.99 a month. That's a really great deal. And if you want to check it out, you can get a 1-month free trial right now.
Whoop, whoop.
So you can see if you like it first, and you will.
And you will.
Because they have a ton of awesome comedy. They have a lot of new shows that you may not have ever seen or even heard of, like Harmon Quest, Bajillion Dollar Properties, Take My Wife. We've told you about that on the show before. The Cyanide and Happiness Show. All kinds of great new shows. Plus a lot of older comedies that maybe you love and you would love to have access to binge. You know, maybe you're just wanting to spend your weekend hanging out in bed, watching great TV shows. How about some Monty Python? How about some Kids in the Hall? Do you want to watch some SNL or some 30 Rock or Parks and Rec?
I always want to watch all of those things.
Me too. Who doesn't want to go back and rewatch all of Saved by the Bell?
It's a good question.
It's all there. So check it out. They have a ton of awesome comedy. You can start your free trial today by going to CISO, that's SEESO.com, CISO.com. Check it out. Sign up.
Do it.
It's awesome.
Woohoo.
So, driving.
Yes.
As you mentioned, I had to retake my driver's test.
Yes. And how did that go?
It went fine. I retook it 2 years ago because here's a little tip for everyone. If you let your license expire for more than 6 months, they don't believe you can drive anymore. They won't just let you renew it. They won't. It's because when you renew your license, you just it's like take my word for it. You just pay some money and renew your license.
Right.
That's it. You don't have to take any tests. You just do it. If you let it lapse for 6 months and they decide well, you forgot how to drive now. So
which
prove
doesn't
to
make
us.
sense.
It doesn't make any sense. That was the only thing that was nice about it is everyone at the DMV seemed to recognize this was silly. Mm-hmm. And so they were all just kind of going through the motions. So I was feeling
Right.
much less stressed. I did practice parallel parking before.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
I
have to,
was
did you take the written test again too, or just the driving test?
both.
Ah,
Could you take both in the same day?
Yes, you can take them both the same day, but you have to do one at a time. I was pregnant with Charlie at the time. I was like into my second trimester, which helped too. I think I was visibly pregnant, and everybody kind of felt bad because I was like, I can't believe I'm here all day at the DMV. This is so exhausting.
On my feet.
On my feet all day. This is so hard. But I had to go and sign up for my learners, take my learners. I passed that. I had to go. They actually issued me a learner's permit
Why?
so that I could get back to the back of the line at the DMV, wait in line, and say I'm here to take my driver's test, and they could take my learners from me to
Oh,
prove that I
man.
could take my. Literally, I had it for that day, and they wouldn't let me keep it because I said like, "Can I keep this?" They're like, "No, you're getting a driver's license." But for an hour, I had a learner's permit.
that's
I don't
funny.
understand why they can't just be like, yeah, you obviously had a driver's license before, so go ahead and take your driver's test again.
I will say that if I hadn't studied, I don't know if I would have passed it. It's hard.
Man.
The permit test?
Yeah, the learner's permit test is kind of hard.
See, I was better at the permit test than the driver's test because everyone I know at school that passed their driver's test on the first try, which surprisingly is like 95% of people I talked to passed it on their first try, didn't pass their permit test their first try or their second try. But I passed my permit test my first try and I only missed one question because I could study for it.
See, I studied for it, but it's hard. You have to know like certain distances, like how many feet can you be from this, and
Well, I mean,
how
I
many
don't
feet
know
can
that
you be from
anymore.
that.
Like, that information did not help me at all while actually driving. Like, there was never any instance where I was like, I remember from my driver's manual, I need to stop 300 feet before the stop sign, which probably actually isn't accurate. I'm sure
Yeah,
it's,
I don't think you have to
that's
stop 300
off.
feet before a stop sign.
well, I mean, start slowing down. Start
Ah.
putting on your brakes. Yeah, stop 300 feet before the
That
stop.
seems a little excessive.
Well, I know. I mean, I don't. Nobody's going to come out with a tape measure, but really, I don't. I'm also really bad at judging distances, so none of these numbers ever really meant anything to me.
It's also, like, common sense, kind of. Like,
Well,
some of them are. Also, like, just having just knowledge of the world around you when you're driving with your permit. Like, this morning, for instance, when I was driving to school and the light was green as I was coming up on it, the speed limit was like 55, so I was going about 55, maybe a little bit over. I don't know, I was rushing to get to school. But I wasn't going super fast, and it was like halfway to the stoplight, it started turning yellow, so I started slowing down. And it wasn't like an easy slowing down. I kind of had to press on the brakes a little bit. But I was like, I'm going to red a red light if I try to speed up and get past this. Like, it's definitely going to be red, so I might as well stop. And Dad yelled at me for stopping. He was like, you could have made that. You would have just pressed on. And as we went by the light, we realized there was a cop car that was not an actual cop car, like that had just a little badge on the license plate right there after that stoplight. So if I would have ran it, he would have pulled me over. And I couldn't have taken my driver's test again because you have a driving violation. You can't take your driver's test.
Wow.
ever.
Not ever. I think
Never.
you have to wait. I think you
You're
have to
done
wait.
for good.
You live in learner's permit purgatory
I
for the
think-
rest of time.
I think you have to wait like 6 months or something after
Oh,
your
that
driving violation to
sucks.
take your driver's test again.
that would suck. Well,
But that was my knowledge of driving
That-
so far.
That's why Dad is a very aggressive driver. He
Yes.
drives very dangerously. I would not advise driving like Dad. Mom is a much safer driver. She calls herself a defensive driver because she drives slowly.
Well, that's how I drive too. So
And-
I can't really say anything about
Does
that.
that make that an offensive driver? Because I think
That
that's
is an
fair.
offensive driver. I think that is true. Now, Mom sometimes isn't paying attention though, so she's not really driving slowly so much as she has ceased driving.
My favorite, and we're joking. Like we love our mom.
Yeah,
but
and she is a safer driver
she
than
is
Dad.
a very safe
100%.
driver.
Yeah.
I don't think she's ever been in a wreck ever, actually. In the whole time I have been in the car with her,
When
I've
she
been
was
in
younger.
when she was younger.
Yeah.
But in her adult life, I've been in 2 wrecks with Dad,
Yeah.
and no wrecks with Mom.
Yeah.
But my favorite is when she puts her purse right next to her on her right hand side in the middle console. And as she's driving, she's digging for something unknown object in her purse that no one ever knows what it is.
She's
but
never
she's
found
just
it.
internally digging for it. As she's driving with one hand, and every now and then she looks over to try to dig for it. She's still digging. And finally, after 10 minutes, you're like, "What do you need? What can I get for you?" She's like, "Oh, nothing. I was just looking for my lipstick. It's fine. I found it."
That is true. That is absolutely true. The digging in the purse, I can't handle.
I've just started every time I
I
see her reaching for her purse. I'm like, what do you need? Let me get it for you.
I have been in a couple little fender benders.
Your fault?
One was my fault. I tapped somebody in line in front of me in the Wendy's
Tapped.
drive-through.
Tap.
I mean,
You
barely.
just nuzzled him a little bit.
Well, 'cause I
you
wasn't
just
even,
gave him
like,
a little mooch with your front end.
It was literally like the sun was completely in my eyes and I couldn't see the menu board. And so I was trying to pull up just a little bit more so that it would block the sun so I could see the menu board to decide what I wanted. And I just like barely nudged into the car in front of me.
Did they say anything?
He came out and looked at both cars and was like, "It's fine. Don't do it again." Like, what? I'm going to follow you and hit you again?
Hit you again. Give you another little
Of course,
tap.
I was terrified. Like, I'm so sorry. Please don't tell my mom and dad. But I mean, you couldn't even see it on the cars. That was my fault. I was hit from behind, waiting at a stop sign, and it was this elderly lady, and she was very distraught about it. And everybody was okay, and my car was fine, so I
Right.
just brushed it off because
Right.
everyone was fine. And then I was in one major accident when a guy did a U-turn in front of me.
Uh-oh.
Who was intoxicated in the
Yeah.
middle of the day driving.
Oh, no.
Yeah, did a U-turn right in front of me and I T-boned him. So, I mean, like, that sounds like it's my fault, but, like, you
It
don't
wasn't.
expect the car in the lane next to you to just, like, swerve in front of you.
Right.
Jesus.
But I was okay and he was okay, and he wanted it all to go away very quickly. He completely paid for my totaled Neon
Wow.
so the Neon could live a second life. It could come back as a zombie car. The car that died completely. It was totaled. I mean, it should have been, like,
Yeah.
That car
But he
should have died
revived
so
it.
many times.
I know. He brought it back to life, Frankenstein style. We reanimated it, and it lived to drive again.
And it's
I
still-
got a really fancy rental for a week.
Hey.
Did it come back still smelling like meat? Because it always smelled like meat.
Okay, it did not smell like
Yes,
meat.
it did.
It smelled like Taco Bell. Let's not get it twisted.
Okay.
But, like, also a combination of, like, Wendy's and Taco Bell.
Also like old
Mainly
socks.
Taco Bell.
Like there was a
Wasn't
very
there, like, a bag of McDonald's or Wendy's or something left in the trunk for, like, months?
There was always a bag of fast food in my car.
I remember one time I pulled down the visor and a brittle tortilla just fell on my head.
I do remember that.
Shattered like glass.
I do remember us putting a tortilla in the visor, and for the life of me, I don't remember why.
I actually do, but it's not. It doesn't explain it. It's that I bit it in such that it would have a face in the tortilla, and then I think I look at you and said, "Look, I made a tortilla face," and then I put it in the visor because that's what you do.
I remember that because I remember that went way past when we should have left it in the car. Was still like attached to the visor.
It somehow like broke off enough that we forgot about it, and then it was only like the first sunny day in a while that it was just like tortilla rain.
Now I have to, and this was back in the day. As soon as I got my license, I was very excited about just being in my car driving, and so Taylor and I would just go out in my car and drive loops around the downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Cruising, I guess is the word for that.
Cruising.
Cruising, listening to Biff Naked and eating Taco Bell most nights. But is that is that still what the kids do? Or are you all like anxious to get your license so you can just like?
Well, that was why I wanted to take my test the same day as the game, because it was like my plan, which I was counting on passing because I consider myself a very good driver. I drive under the speed limit 9 times out of 10. I am always stopping, putting on my blinker. I was counting on passing because I practiced parallel parking and I never hit a barrel. So I was like, well, worst that happens is I hit a curb and I have to try again, because I wasn't thinking I was going to hit a barrel, but I did. And I don't know. The plan was I was going to take my test. I thought I was going to pass. I was going to go home, take Dad home because he had to be with me and his car was at home. And he took my car so I could take it in my car. And then I was going to go pick up one of my friends from school because I go half day. And I would have gotten out regular time. And that also wouldn't have happened anyways because the DMV took 3 hours. So even if I would have passed, it would have taken even longer. It's kind of like a punishment. If you pass, you have to wait even longer to get your actual license made.
But then you get a license, so,
right? But then I was gonna, we were gonna go out to eat and get ready for the game at my house, and go to the game. And I was gonna take people home if they needed rides home, just so I could drive my car. I was mostly excited for being able to drive to school, even though I hate going to school. I was excited to be able to drive to school by myself.
Do people still cruise just like up
Yeah.
and down? I mean, in our little town, there's really like one-way avenue that goes one way and another that goes the other way.
Yeah.
And you just drive up one and back down the other.
Yeah.
Repeat.
Yeah.
And they were
that's what people do.
And there were only the 2 late night destinations. We never had a Bronze. We had the Walmart. Yeah, we had the Walmart. We had a Taco Bell. That was it. Those are the only things open after midnight, at least when we were kids.
But now the Taco Bell and the Walmart are in the same exact plaza, so you don't even need to drive to 2 different places. You can just stop in Walmart, and on your way out of Walmart, you pass a Taco Bell.
Oh, but the driving was, I mean, the
I know.
journey is
I know,
the
that's
whole...
what I'm saying. You don't even get that experience anymore.
When it comes to Taco Bell, it's not so much about the destination as it is the journey.
I think it's really about the destination also, though, because then you get some tacos.
That's true. 4th meal. Thank you, Taco Bell, for introducing that to our vernacular.
I know this isn't about driving, but we're talking about Taco Bell an awful lot. And I remember the first time I got Taco Bell was when Mom told me that you and Taylor used to get it. You two used to get it a lot. And she kept saying run to the border and 4th meal and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, Mom, it's like 4 PM. What are you talking about? I have only had 1 meal today.
Taco Bell was like the first place in my memory that was open all the time. I mean, that's right? It was like the first all night eatery, if you can call it that. and so it was that was what you did late at night. And then as I got older, maybe if you had a beer. Just a beer.
Also, Waffle House.
Not drive there. Have someone get you Taco Bell.
We didn't have the Waffle House. The Waffle House is new.
It was not open?
Right?
Yeah, we didn't have a Waffle House back then.
Oh, because that's
just
open
had
24 hours.
We had the omelet stoppy.
Stoppy?
Stop it.
Wait, wasn't it a shop? Like SHOPPE?
No,
Not
STOPPE.
Was it a shoppe or a stoppe?
It was a stoppe. It was
think
an omelet
it
stoppe.
was a shop.
I think it might have been a shoppe. I
I think it might have been a shop.
Definitely stop.
I don't have a horse in this game. I'm not. I don't know.
That sign is still up. It still exists.
A game of horses that might play.
As soon as we're done, we're going to drive there. You're going to practice parallel parking in their parking lot, and you're going to see that it's stoppy and not shoppy. I promise you.
Can I just poll you guys real quick? What's the go-to Taco Bell order?
I really enjoy the Crunchwrap.
Yeah, I get a chicken crunch wrap.
I get the regular old Crunchwrap Supreme, and then a hard taco on the side. A little treat just for me.
See, I get
No sour cream, add pico, please.
a chicken crunch wrap with a side order of nachos.
Man, see, I like the steak taco. I like the steak taco and I like the chalupa. But I mainly just want to eat the chalupa shell. Like that's the good part.
We had a lot of in-jokes about chalupas, Taylor and I did. I don't remember them all. I just know that in my senior will, when I graduated, I left Taylor a chalupa. I don't remember why now. I just know that I did.
Maybe you just really like chalupas.
I think it's also a delightful word to say. Chalupa.
Chalupa.
Like, it's a good word. As far as words go, it's a great one.
I thought I invented a taco once at Taco Bell.
What?
I ordered a double-decker taco, which of course is like a hard taco with like a layer of beans on the outside and then a soft taco shell. And then what they gave me was soft taco shell, nacho cheese, soft taco shell, beans, hard taco. Which was not on the menu.
What kind of
an accident?
Taco inception is that?
It was a beautiful accident, and I went up and I told them about it. I said, look what you have wrought.
Look what you've done.
This is the most amazing thing. I think you need to add it to the menu and call it the Ultimo. That's what I thought they should name it.
Yeah,
But
how did they?
happen.
No, did they not?
I mean, it was like the person working at Taco Bell. It was like a teenager who was like so over me talking to them about this taco that then they were like, "Do you want it? Do you want your money back? Do you want another? I mean, do you want another one? What do you want?" And I was like, "I want you to add this to the menu." And they were like, "We can't." Like, you understand? Like, I don't own Taco Bell, right? I don't have that kind of power here. Will you please move? There's like 30 other drunk college students who want a taco right now.
I wonder if you can order
good old
that.
place.
Just be like, okay, listen, I got this one thing from here one time, like 15 years ago. Let me explain it to you step by step.
Now, this is what you do. You got to gaslight them. Like, you get all of your friends to start ordering the Ultimo. And everyone's like, what is that? And you're like, oh, come on. Like, it's like a secret menu item. Yeah. And you just like, then they'll think it's a thing, and then maybe they'll make it a thing. But you gotta get those wheels rolling.
This is like viral marketing. I love this.
Yeah. I mean, of all the things you can achieve in life, I think inventing a taco is one of the top 10.
I would put it way up there. Definitely like under the birth of my child, but close.
You made a baby and you made a taco.
Where is the first place you're going to drive, Riley?
Probably school, if we're being honest.
Oh, well, that was a boring answer.
Yeah.
Or to one of my friends' houses. Or Taco Bell. Maybe Taco Bell.
Okay.
I actually really want Taco Bell now. I haven't eaten all day.
I know. Now I'm very hungry for Taco Bell. Have you thought about your driver's license picture? That's another big part of it.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like on Fridays at my school, since during football season we have spirit days, so everyone's supposed to dress in green and gold. And usually everyone, which I always forget about, honestly, until when I get there and I notice everyone's wearing green and gold. But that day I had unintentionally worn a very nice outfit that was a yellow shirt with flowers on it with a green cardigan. So I was wearing green and gold, and my hair was all curled, and I had my nice jeans on, and my Toms, and I was all ready, and I failed.
Oh.
So this week I'm just going to wear sweatpants, and maybe the opposite effect will happen, and I will pass.
Because that's always tough with the driver's license photo, because, I mean, they don't take extra, like, you get the one.
Yeah.
You get one shot at it.
And if you haven't, like, driver's test, you've already been there for your permit picture, so you already know where the actual camera is. But the way the light is set up above it, the light looks like it's going to be the camera lens. So if you're like me, you look right into the light, and then your eyes are either really open like they are. Your eyes are either really open like they are in mine, or they're completely closed like they are in one of my friends. And you're not looking directly at the camera, but you're not looking away from the camera. So it's a very awkward permit picture I have, and that's one of the reasons why I'm anxious to get my license, to get rid of this permit.
And you want to make sure and look as mature as possible for when you start faking your ID to make it older than you are. You know?
Yeah. Except apparently, I didn't know you had to get a different license when you're 17, but you turn 16. If you're getting your license when you're 16, you can get your restricted driver's license, which I thought was a permit. But when you turn 16 in West Virginia, at least, you get your restricted driver's license. And then when you're 17, you can get your unrestricted driver's license, which just means you go to the DMV, you give them your old license, and you pay them like $5. And then after that, every year until you're 21, you're supposed to pay $2.50. And then when you're 21, you get your ID, which is your ID and license.
I knew they made it more complicated.
Yeah, like I don't know why.
Well, there's now this would be a difference. So when Taylor and I were growing up, and I'm sure for most people, 15, you get a learner's permit, which means you can drive, but there has to be a licensed adult driver in the car with you.
Over the age of 25, I think is
something like that. Yeah. So there has to be somebody in the car with you. At 16, you got your license, you could drive. Yeah. Period. End of story. That was it. There were no other restrictions placed on it.
Except for the first 6 months. I don't know if this is what was the case for you all, but now for the first 6 months, you're not supposed to have any unrelated passenger in the car with you.
Nope. There were no restrictions.
None of that.
The only different thing about a license when you were 16 is that it had the red bar around my picture that said under 21. You know.
Yeah, now the whole license is just vertical instead of horizontal, and the whole thing is rimmed in red.
Yeah, they've made it much harder. Like our old IDs, with whiteout and colored pencils.
I remember you guys doing that. I remember you and your friends sitting around doing that like at a party.
Whiteout and colored pencils, you could pretty much do. Yeah, I mean, that easy. That like you should not be able to make yourself 18 with whiteout and colored pencils, which you can't now. So I think that was a good. That was a good move.
Well, that's because the ID that I got when I was 18 was like a completely legit. That was just a driver's license ID. Had no markings that I was under 21. You just had to look at the date.
Yeah. Now on my permit, which like I don't understand because it expires when I turn 18. But there are two, like it has my birthday on it, the day I got my permit, and it also says 18th birthday is on this day and 21st birthday is on this day, as if I'm going to take my driver's permit that says like learner's permit at the top instead of advanced driver's thing and try to give it to someone like to get into like a club or to buy alcohol
You'd be
or whatever.
surprised.
No,
People do that?
that's awesome that they do that, because as a bartender, someone that has to check a million IDs all the time, doing the math to figure out how old somebody is. Like, you would think it would get easier. Like, I would figure out these dates and they'd be submitted every time. I'm like, they always just seem like epically younger than me. So I'm like, you're definitely not 21. Oh God, you're 21. Oh, you're 25. I'm old. What? Like, you were born in the 90s? There's no way you're legal. You're legal. Jesus.
How did this happen? Well, and so what? So that you're not allowed to have any unrelated drivers in the car. So how were you driving? Okay, your plan was to pick up your friends and drive to a football game.
Breaking the law.
That was illegal.
Now, I will tell you.
Illegal plan.
I have never met
Illegal plan.
anyone. I have never met anyone, because I think that's just a West Virginia thing. Like, I have friends who live in Ohio, and that is not a rule for them.
It's. I think that these laws are different state by state.
Yeah, I think
so.
it's just a West Virginia thing. Maybe it's also other states, but I know at least in Ohio, I don't think it's a rule. But I have never met any of my friends, and I have several friends that already have their licenses. None of them have followed that rule. And, like, I also don't know if a cop pulls you over for some other reason other than that, like you're speeding or whatever. How can they, like, if you just say, like, this is my cousin, how can they prove that that is not your cousin? Like, I understand if you have like
That's fair.
if you have like 6 people in the car, you can't be like, oh yeah, I'm all related to all of these people.
Well,
But like, I mean, you could be, but
I don't understand like what the idea behind this is. It's like, if you're gonna get in a car accident, you can kill your family member, but not a stranger.
not someone who's not related to you.
Not somebody not related.
It's so weird.
Like, what
Why
is
would they have limits on how many people?
How
Like,
many
that
people?
would make
I would
sense to
understand
me
that.
if you were like, you can only have 2 other people in the car with you.
Right.
Because, I mean...
You could
then-
get distracted or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you, which I know we used to do, tried to pack like 6 people in a car
Right.
in a neon all together and drive somewhere, like that is distracting.
Right.
So I could see making rules like that.
Like for the first 6 months, you can't have more than 2 passengers total in the car.
Can you do night driving? Is there a restriction on night driving?
There's a time period. I know it's more expansive. The time period is with your learner's permit because they know there's going to be an adult in the car. So like with my learner's permit, I can drive between the hours of, I think, 6 a.m. and 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only like 4 hours where I'm technically not supposed to be driving. But again, I don't know how someone would know just driving by me if I'm not doing anything wrong. But I think with your license, you can only drive between the hours of, and maybe this is the difference between an unrestricted driver's license and a restricted driver's license that you get when you're 17 and 16.
Sure.
But you can only drive between, I think it's again 6 a.m. and like midnight, maybe.
Okay.
I think that's the
yeah.
latest you can drive.
This is all new. And there's also, I saw, Riley, you and Mom filling out your driver's log.
Yeah.
They have to log 50 hours of driving before they can take their driver's test.
Which, like, I kid you not, we filled out those papers for, I mean, because you have to have every single box signed.
And
Every
it's-
single box has to be filled out with what type of road you were driving on, who was in the car with you,
what the weather,
what the weather was like.
conditions were. Yeah.
Yeah, whether it was nighttime driving or daytime driving, and the dates of it. And I had 4 papers total that I'd filled out 4 of the log sheets, and I turned them into the guy with my proof of enrollment from school and everything. He looks at the proof of enrollment for like a second, puts it to the side, looks at my logs, flips through them like, you know, like you would like a little flip book, like just flips through them and says, okay. That was it. He didn't even count.
This
I
is
could have
crazy.
I driven for like 10 hours and that was it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, the only people who sign off on it are your parents.
Yeah, the
So-
only other person that could sign off on it is either someone who is a licensed driver over the age of 25. But most people, I don't know who else would be driving with you that you know that is licensed over 25, unless it's like a sibling or your parents. And those are the only people that sign off on it. So I mean, I feel like if your parents think you're experienced enough to be driving, they'll let you go get your test, and they, you know, will sign off on however many hours you did, which Mom ended up doing.
Yeah, and I think you have to have 10 nighttime, right?
Yeah, 10 nighttime, and you have to have it like I think it's supposed to be an even spread of the 3 options are interstate, country, and city roads.
And this is a lot more cumbersome than it used to be. But I have to say, I don't think all of these restrictions are really a bad idea.
No.
Because like I've mentioned, when I first started driving, I drove too fast. Taylor can attest to that.
Yep.
You were with me a lot. I drove too fast. I tailgated people. I had road rage issues. I was not
See,
a friendly driver.
I have silent road rage. I get angry at people who do stupid things, but I don't like if someone turned out in front of me and they weren't supposed to or whatever, I wouldn't like tailgate them and get really close to them to let them know I'm angry. I would just like be in the car and be like, "Oh, you, how dare you?" And then just, like,
You're a passive aggressive driver.
Yeah.
I would drive up next to them, roll my window down, and yell at them.
Man.
You would do that?
Yes, I did that.
Sydney.
I know. I don't now.
Yeah.
I have matured.
Now that I have been driving for a while and I've definitely improved on how I've driven. I used to be an awful driver. Now I'm pretty good. But every time I get behind someone that's slow, like either when I'm driving or when dad's driving or whatever, I try to think about like maybe this is a 15-year-old girl as well who is very nervous and trying to take it slow, because I know there were several times where I would look behind me on a road where I'd be going like right about between 25 and 30 where the speed limit was 30. So I wasn't going like super slow. Like I wasn't like impeding traffic or anything, but people would just be right on my bumper and I'd be like, "Dad, I'm nervous. These people are right behind me." He's like, "It's okay. Just do your thing. They can pass you if they want."
And that is the best advice, is to just do your thing. I will say that I am one of those people now who, if somebody tailgates me now, I slow down and I keep going slower until they get the message.
So you've become a passive aggressive driver.
I've become passive. That's the one thing. If somebody tailgates me, I will just keep going slower and slower, and I will just smile into my rear view mirror.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
like,
you got to be somewhere? Oh, that's too bad.
Keep on tailgating me. We'll see how it works out. Most of the time, people back off when you do that. Most of the time, they get the message.
Yeah.
But I am glad that you enter driving that way, because it really took, and I was never in, thank goodness, I was never in a major wreck that was my fault. And I never got a speeding ticket, although I probably should have. It took me starting my residency and seeing the result of a lot of car accidents and how terrified I was, thinking, "Oh my gosh, I drive that way." And that really shocked me into being a safer driver.
Right.
And now being a parent.
Yeah.
It is not hard. I mean, it's not hard for me to drive safely and slowly, because either I have Charlie in the car, I think, I want to be a good model.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
Go ahead.
Oh, that's the thing. I mean, as exciting as it is to get your license, and I know you really want to drive, like driving's also, it's dangerous. I mean, it's a
That's
big.
what I was gonna say.
It's a Spider-Man thing. It's a great power, great responsibility trade-off.
Very, very true.
So,
Yeah, that's just what I was gonna say. That there have been like I've only had my permit, I think, now for a year. Like this week makes a year I've had my permit. But there have been like 3 or 4 times where I've been driving where if I hadn't been going slow like I had been, or like watching around me super carefully because I knew I just got my permit, I probably would have been in a pretty bad wreck. Like, not my fault, of course, but like people turning out in front of me when they shouldn't, or someone passing in front of me and I'm going slow enough where I could stop. But I mean, if I had been like, I have friends who say they text while they drive, or like are on their phone while they drive.
No.
I can't even like go to turn down the volume on my stereo and just glance down at it to make sure I'm grabbing the right knob without freaking out that I'm going to be paying attention or not paying attention for too long. Like being on my phone, oh my gosh.
Well, it's good that you have that attitude.
Yeah.
I was in one car accident that was my fault, and I was changing the radio station. I looked down to change the radio station as I was accelerating. Like I stopped at a stoplight and then I went through it, or I stopped at a stop sign, and a car. The other car was also speeding, but the fact is I ran into the side of them because I was fiddling with the radio, and it was a big old insurance claim. So yeah, it's things can change in a second. Even as I ride a bike now. I don't have a car in the city, and like even as a biker, like the amount of times that like I narrowly skirt a horrible accident. It's just like, this is large, cars moving quickly, there's lots of danger.
Yeah.
So don't take it lightly. Like, it sucks that you failed your test, but you can never be too safe.
And it really, you don't want to pull a Mitch Leary.
What is that, Sid?
Okay, so this is a Dawson's Creek spoiler. So for everyone who hasn't seen Dawson's Creek, please skip ahead.
Sid, we're gonna get emails.
I'm gonna spoil Dawson's Creek for you. Mitch Leary, Dawson's dad, is in a horrible car accident and dies. And it is because he's eating ice cream and he drops the ice cream off of the cone
No.
into the passenger seat floor. and he reaches down into the passenger seat floor
No, wait a minute.
to pick up the ice cream he dropped there.
No,
And he
wait a
wrecks.
minute.
And it's a tragic, fatal car accident. And you don't want to pull a Mitch Leary. I actually tell Justin a lot. If he starts to reach for something in the car, I go, "Come on, don't pull a Mitch Leary."
I have a few problems with this scenario. One, like, it's ice cream. You dropped it on the floor of your car, which is carpet all the time. It's not going to be good. You're not going to eat it.
Trust me, I've been through these.
Like, also, it's in the passenger seat floor. Like, you have to really reach for that even when you're not driving.
Well, he was enough to swerve into oncoming traffic.
Yeah, that's really stupid.
I don't think there's
That
a
was real
5-second rule
dumb.
for ice cream. Well, I mean, I was there. A Matchbox 20 song came on, and I was changing the radio station. So people do dumb things. Like I was like, not this song. Crash. That's what I get for being a music snob. Yeah, you know, the dumbest things.
So Riley, don't for now, it's fine to, you know, keep both hands on the wheel. Eventually you will feel comfortable like turning on the AC.
Well, I mean, I
station.
can do that now, but I just mean.
But it's
at
better
first.
to be more cautious in the beginning. Assume other people are gonna make mistakes and be defensive. It's good advice. It's kind of like with if you're at a 4-way stop, you never take the right of way.
Right.
You are given the right of way.
Right.
And that's a good way to look at driving. Assume other people are gonna make mistakes and you're gonna be better off.
I just.
Follow the rules. Don't text. Don't
No,
talk on the phone.
yeah, never.
And don't have a bunch of people. I mean, you don't want to cram your car full of people because
No,
people do stupid
no.
things. Like they think it's funny to climb around in the car and to.
I also don't want a bunch of people in my car because I don't want them making a mess on my car. Like, my car is my car. I keep it clean.
Well, that's out of line because Sydney and I both had disgusting filth machines.
Yeah, really. We
No,
really
my
did.
car is so nice and so clean right now. It will never be dirty.
And you'll pass it next week. You just got to practice.
God, I hope so. This Friday, taking my
Parallel
test
parking.
again.
Practice.
I know. I've
every
already
day.
practiced once before that test, so I'm
Wow.
going to practice every day before I take it.
You need to go practice today.
I know.
It's a bummer recommendation, but Werner Herzog did a short film about texting and driving. I think it's called From One Second to the Next. It's very sobering, but you know, on the subject, it's excellent as far as the
And
yeah.
it's spot on. I mean, there's no reason you should text and drive. Ever, ever, ever. There's no excuse for
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I mean, you're endangering your life and
If
everyone
there's
else's.
something that's really that urgent, you can pull over
For sure.
or call someone if you have hands free. If you have hands free.
If Matchbox 20 comes on the radio, just let it play. Just let it play.
Same thing with, and I know this isn't something, this is a whole other subject, but same thing with like drinking and driving. It's never acceptable. It's never worth it.
Ew.
It's just, it's not cool. It's not funny. It's not like, oh my gosh, can you believe what I did? It's not. It's
Right.
never. And I know that's not an issue for you now, but trust me, as you get older, you're going to be confronted with situations where you go, could I? Maybe could I? No, you can't. If you're asking yourself the question, the answer is no.
Yeah.
So it's good to think about that now because otherwise you get blindsided with the situation.
Right.
All right. Well, with that public service announcement,
Don't drink and drive.
Just got real different.
Still buffering.
don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Don't speed. Speed kills.
Speed
kills.
And
And
you
I'll
know.
have an update for everyone next week as to whether I probably failed again or maybe I had a
Well,
slim
let's
chance.
be
and
optimistic as she has passed, and we will tell you what she got at Taco Bell with her first trip.
passed. I've already
solo
told you
trip.
what I'm going to get Taco Bell.
You know,
yeah, you want to know that you get it.
Sisters, thank you. As
Thank you.
always. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, listeners. If you want to join our Facebook group, it is very active, and there are multiple splinter groups.
Oh my gosh, so many.
So many now. There's like a foodie group. There's a fitness group. There are so many groups. They're
Yeah.
called like Still Buffering and Buffer or something.
I
Oh,
don't know.
that's
funny.
awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So it's our Still Buffering on Facebook. Please, you do have to ask to be let in, but as long as you're not a robot, we'll let you in. And please don't try to sell anybody anything.
If you
Also.
are a sentient robot, though, if the singularity has occurred and you are a fan of Still Buffering, it's cool.
But if you're a Cylon, not so fast.
Yeah.
If you want to tweet at us at stillbuff, if you want to email us, stillbuffering at maximumfun.org. We'd love to hear from you if you have suggestions or comments, things you'd like to hear us talk about. If you like our show, consider rating and reviewing us on iTunes. We always appreciate that. That helps us out.
If you want a Jumbotron, you can go to maximumfun.org/Jumbotron and we'll say whatever message you write for us on our show as long as it's not, inappropriate.
Inappropriate. Please don't ask our little sister to do something inappropriate.
Please. We'll do pretty
No
much
one's done that.
we'll do
We're
pretty much
joking.
anything else. Just no one's done that. You wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't
Just
do that. You
do
guys
it.
are too
We'll
nice.
say whatever you want.
Within reason.
No bad words.
No bad words. Please check out MaximumFun.org for a lot of other wonderful, amazing podcasts. We are so lucky to be part of this great family.
Yes.
Go check out so many other great shows. Thank you to the Novellas for our theme song, Baby You Change Your Mind. And thank you all again for listening.
Yeah. This has been Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Riley Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
I am a teenager.
And I was too.
That was the worst yet.
Hey there, European Max Funsters. Do not miss your chance to catch some of your favorite Max Fun shows live at the London Podcast Festival, September 22nd through 26th. See amazing guests like Armando Iannucci, Josie Long, and Romare on stage with Jesse Thorne during Bullseye. Bust a gut at classic panel show hijinks with International Waters, and witness some tough but fair internet justice dispensed by Judge John Hodgman himself. The Beef and Dairy Network show is already sold out, but hey, at least you can enjoy being in the proximity of the premier expert on beef animals and dairy herds, right? More guests will be announced soon, and tickets are going fast. Go to MaximumFun.org for tickets right now so you don't live a life steeped in regret.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Listener supported.